Today we are talking about the freeze or the deer and headlights response of the nervous system. And so if I were to say freeze, what are you going to do? You're going to do this, right? Which is exactly the freeze response. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain it using a slide here. So let me just share my screen with you so it can be clearer for you. Okay, so here we have the autonomic nervous system, which is our internal surveillance system. Freeze is in the dorsal vagal state response. And so most people know about the sympathetic nervous system response, which is our fight or flight response. But we actually have the parasympathetic as well, which most people know to be the relaxing response because it is one side of it is the ventral vagal where we have the rest, digest, and heal phase. But we also have the not so great side of our nervous system called the dorsal vagal state of shutdown, freeze, and collapse. And so when we have the when we have freeze, we have gone through this response right here in the dorsal vagal state. This is the first line of defense, this is the second line of defense, and this is the third line of defense for our nervous system. And so when we get to freeze, we just go and default into the state of freeze. And freeze in particular is very, very special because not only does it have the dorsal vagal state of shutdown, which means we're collapsed, our energy is in immobilization. Immobilization means we can't move. Our nervous system says freeze, therefore you cannot move. But freeze also has the sympathetic nervous system state where we feel very erratic and we feel like we're so stressed out, anxious, panicky. That type of energy is also present in freeze. And so a lot of people think that they are in fight or flight, but a lot of people are actually most likely in freeze. And in this state, it is a very, very special, it takes a very, very special way to regulate, because what our nervous system has done is that it puts on the brake, which is the immobilization part of the dorsal vagus nervous system. It has now then put the brakes on, and at the same time, because we have the sympathetic charge, which is the go system, which is the gas pedal, it has brakes on. It has its foot on both the brakes and the gas pedal. And we can only imagine how that feels if we were in a car. Well, it's the same in our system, or we have this like urge to go, right? We just want to go. We want to do something. We want to experience new things. We want to work on a new project. We want to put ourselves out there. We want to go after this and that. But the minute we do it, it's like our bodies are stuck, right? It's like we cannot move. It's physically heavy because we have these two states. And what do you do? What do you do when you have the brakes on and the gas pedal at the same time? Are you going to keep on pressing on the gas pedal in order for you to keep going while you know that the brakes are on at the same time? No, right? That's not how it works. In order for you to effectively get out of freeze, you must then first take the brake off. That just makes sense, right? And this is where the traditional nervous system somatic practices, the ones you see on Instagram, the ones that are in the jungle and they look very beautiful and they're just meditating beautifully. That's not going to get you out of freeze. That's the truth. That's just the science of it. You can see it here. You cannot, in order for you to get out of freeze, you need to take the brakes off, which means that you need to up-regulate your system, which is not going to be through relaxation practices, regular meditation on its own without any intention of upregulating the system is exactly why a lot of people are still stuck in freeze after a long period of time, even though they've actually done the work. It's just not specific. And so I'm going to stop sharing now. That is exactly why I teach specificity in all my nervous system trainings. This is not talked about much, which is really insane to me, coming from a medical background, not using practices that are specific to how the body is doing at the present moment in time is just a recipe for failure. And so for freeze, you want to upregulate your system first, and then you are probably going to want to downregulate it because then you have the energy of the sympathetic nervous system afterwards. So if this is something that you want more information on, I do have a course specifically for this. You can try this out with just a regular upregulating practice. But truly, and if you are someone who is stuck in procrastination, you really want to do something, you are a high achiever, you have big goals, but every time you try to do something, it feels like there's a wall there and your body feels heavy, then I do have the Let's Fucking Go course ready now and available for you to have a structured plan as to specifically how to get out of freeze so that you can end the year strong, so that you can actually get the ball rolling again, because that's what you want to do, right? You're sick of feeling stuck, you're sick of freezing. You want to be able to feel good about yourself and start accomplishing things that you've always wanted to accomplish. And I know that one of the things that you want to accomplish is to be able to grow your impact, right? To grow the amount of people that that you help. But every time you try to expand, it feels like you can't. And this is what freeze is all about. And again, there's a very specific way that you do it. It gets mapped out inside the course. And this is going to be very, very transformational for you if you are stuck in here. And so if this is something of interest to you, then comment or message me LFG and we can start the process today.